Hello everybody, and welcome again to my channel. Here you see Spike with the postcard with Gigi as part of the governing body member, and this is just once again to remind you that Gilbert Gonzalez, Gigi, is the rightful 8th member of the governing body, not Kenneth Cook. So the clandestine means that were used to appoint Kenneth Cook are in fact invalid. However, I wanted to bring out a few more points about the April 2018 Watchtower, the study edition. There is an article on page 25 entitled "Young People, Are You Focused on Spiritual Goals?" The whole driving thrust of this article is to get young people as early as possible to focus their entire lives on service to the organization, to Jehovah. And Jehovah, of course, is none other than the Watchtower, because Jehovah, according to Watchtower's own literature, is not the correct name for God. They admit that Yahweh is the most accurate translation. However, they have no qualms with continuing to promote this false name because they have convinced their followers to associate the name Jehovah with the Watchtower organization. To an indoctrinated Jehovah's Witness, the Watchtower is Jehovah. They just don't realize it. And you can do this simple test if you disagree with that. If you disagree with the Watchtower, how will the Watchtower treat you? They will treat you as if you have disagreed with Jehovah. So despite the fact they say they're not inspired, they mandate that you must treat them as if their utterances come directly from God Himself, on the pain of expulsion and shunning by your friends and family. That is, in effect, making you associate the organization with Jehovah. So, moving back on to the article. On page 25 of the 2018 April Watchtower, the title is "Young People, Are You Focused on Spiritual Goals?" And the word spiritual here is synonymous with goals that advance the agenda of the Watchtower. Their version of spiritual goals will include spending your time 70 hours a month or more, knocking on doors or standing by carts trying to get people to join the Watchtower. Those goals include building Watchtower property, and all of these things you do, of course, at your own expense. Those goals involve going to one of their headquarters to make their literature or to work on things that advance their corporation. Those goals basically involve spending all of your time serving the organization. That's what they're telling you to do. And they are telling you that if you spend all of your time serving Jehovah, serving the organization, serving the Watchtower, that this is the best way you can live, that you will be happy. This is patently false. I did that. When I was a young person, I had all of those goals, and I worked towards them, and I accomplished some of them. I spent some time in the full-time ministry. I spent time being instructed at Bethel. I spent time doing their relief work, and I spent time as an elder, as a ministerial servant, pioneer, auxiliary pioneer. I worked on circuit assemblies, district conventions, so on and so forth. I worked in the RBC back when that still existed. Did those things really make me happy? To be honest, no, they didn't. I always did what the Watchtower told me to do, and I pretended that I was happy. But the reality is, those things were always very stressful because it was never truly what I wanted to do. There was never any freedom to become the type of individual that you truly want to become as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. If you read the scriptures, they show you that there are multiple different types of things you can do to be considered a Christian and still be considered a Christian. And none of them are more important than the other. However, within the realm of Jehovah's Witnesses, this is not true. The only thing you can do to be considered a good Christian is devote all of your time to the organization, or devote significant amounts of your time to the organization. And the inability to express yourself as a person leads to unhappiness, and you then have to convince yourself that you are happy. And you will discover this is true of many Jehovah's Witnesses. They will pretend they're happy outwardly, but the reality is, if you observe them, they are actually quite miserable people, and it's quite a sad thing. So, as one who followed the advice to dedicate myself to Jehovah from a young age and to set spiritual goals, I'm telling you, they do not result in happiness or anything added to your life. It results in misery and regret and a sense of loss. But that can be overcome once you wake up and begin to live your own life. And that's what I have done. So now just another interesting point I wanted to bring out from this magazine is on page 30. They have a question from readers. And so the questions from readers, by the way, are never questions from readers. There are always things that the governing body talks about that they think that the sheep need to hear. So the title in itself is disingenuous. Questions from readers is really, what does the governing body want to tell Jehovah's Witnesses? So here, the question is, why is it not permissible to post publications of Jehovah's Witnesses on a personal website or on social media? Well, let's see what they say. At the second paragraph there, at the top of that, it says, apostates and other opposers try to use their publications on their websites to lure in Jehovah's Witnesses and others. Planted in those sites is material designed to sow doubts in readers' mind. It says others have used material from our publications. I'll get into that later. So first of all, the Watchtower doesn't want you posting their documents on your site because they want to control the conversation. So the only publicity they want is publicity that they themselves create. So they bring out that apostates, and of course, to a Jehovah's Witness, an apostate is the most evil individual possible to be. And other opposers try to use publications of the Watchtower to lure in Jehovah's Witnesses and others. So right away they're saying anybody that posts Watchtower publications on their site has bad motive. And they're saying that planted on those sites is material designed to sow doubts in readers' minds. So here's the problem with that statement. Is notice that they don't in any way indicate that the material is false or modified, but they just say that it's material designed to sow doubts in readers' minds. And guess what? Much of that material that they're referring to is their own old publications. They know for a fact that their teachings have changed so radically that if modern Jehovah's Witnesses were to read the writings of Charles Taze Russell or Joseph Rutherford, and even for that matter, much of the writings of Fred Franz, they would be shocked by what the organization actually taught. The reason for this is because many of the teachings from the past contradict current teachings. So, if you are an indoctrinated Jehovah's Witness, you believe that the teachings have always gotten brighter, meaning they've built on teachings of the past. However, when you read the old literature, you find out this is blatantly not true. Things were predicted in the name of Jehovah that never came to be true. Teachings were much different. Dates did not mean the same things. And the Watchtower goes out of their way to hide this information and to misrepresent the past. This is the true reason why they don't want you posting their information on the website. They know full well that their own literature shows them up to be exactly what they are, which is nothing more than propagandists, false prophets, and charlatans. So this article basically talks about that, and it talks about on the second page that Jehovah has entrusted the responsibility of providing spiritual food to the faithful and discreet slave. So there's a problem with that, is that Jesus really hasn't appointed them. They cannot prove that Jesus appointed them. And on top of this, that's a parable, that's not a prophecy. Parables are not used as prophecies. So therefore they are misrepresenting the parable of the faithful and discreet slave as a method for them to take control of your life. This, in effect, makes them the wicked slave of that parable who is beating their fellow servant. And they are scared to death that you will come to realize who they really are. And henceforth, they must demonize everybody who tries to show you the truth. So one thing that I always say, or often say, I will admit I have not said this in every video, is never take my word for the things that I say. I do not want you to follow me. What I want you to do is go and do your own research and to think for yourself. You have no responsibility to me. I don't want you to, but you do have responsibility to yourself. Educate yourself. Investigate who these people really are. Thanks for watching.